let's move on to the Arne Slot conversation then. What was your Nick? What's your hesitation in the fact that he, about getting excited about him coming? Because can you feel that it falls through? Because I said in the WhatsApp group that he's gonna. I wouldn't be surprised me at all if he signs a new contract for Feyenoord.
Yeah, absolutely. We just, like I say, I think it just comes down to like with a lack of communication, people start to make stuff up, and that's what it feels like, really. And I think I'm tired. God knows how our midfield feels because like I'm worn out of it, and I think that's what happened. You get this sea change, you get these inklings of hope. You could look at it one way, and you could look at Arne Slot and say, now is the perfect time to appoint. So, like, if we get him in now, he's got a summer to work with it. We can go on tour. Like, you can get to know these players. You can start making signings. But really, am I optimistic that that's going to happen and that actually we're going to be set up ready for the end of August? Not so much, because it just doesn't seem to be pragmatic or solution focused in any way. It just seems to be a bit of a kind of shotgun approach to it, which just seems bizarre given the mistakes that have gone before from Levy in particular.
It's a bit like making love, this situation, where it's the whole season's been great. Like the whole season, you've been enjoying parts of it, but then you get to, about 25 minutes, and you're like, well, I just want this done now. Just want this. Do you know what, Ricky? Do you know when you've been going for 25 minutes and you're just like...
No, I don't. I really don't. No. As soon as you said that, and I was like, where's this analogy going?
Have you never had a situation
the end bit is the fun bit of the season.
Yeah, but not if you get bored and you realise you're never going to come. Have you not had that situation?
Nah, never.
You've never
always
been...
rise to the occasion, can always give a dose when I need to. That's right.
Can you give a dose when you want to?
Yeah.
Oh, well, so you can time it?
Oh no, sorry, no. What's his face? Who was the famous porn star?
Peter North can come on demand.
Not Peter North, the other one. The short...
Ron Jeremy?
Yeah, Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, I know too much about it.
Yeah, he could do a countdown, and he could just when he got to one. I mean, that's impressive.
He could suck his own cock as well.
Could he?
Yeah.
No.
He didn't ever...
Nah.
You're fucking joking.
Nick went, no.
Flip that up for YouTube.
Well, I was going to say, this is going to be used on YouTube, but the channel's currently being reviewed for whether or not it's suitable for a commercial partnership. So I better write that in for Charlie to edit out. Sorry,
good.
Sorry, Charlie. So Spurs at the moment, Ricky, are negotiating the exit of Arne Slot from Feyenoord. Apparently, if you believe the Daily Mail, that he's agreed to join Tottenham. He said previously in interviews that if he was still managing the Netherlands in the next few years, he'd failed as a manager. So his aspirations are clearly outside of the country. And anyone who's decent should be as well, right? No one's going to stick around in that league if they're as good as we believe them to be. But when it was first announced, you wasn't sure, was you? You weren't at the top of your list.
Nah, weren't at the top of my list at all.
At the bottom of your list.
I can't even remember who was on my list. There's quite a lot on my list, but he wasn't top. I think it was probably Nagelsmann, Poch. Who else was on there? Who else has been?
Enrique?
Nah, didn't want him.
I didn't want him as well. Weird. I didn't want Enrique. I don't know.
I just find that type of football boring.
Well, the tiki-taka.
Yeah, not my thing.
Yeah.
Not my thing. I know like Barcelona are this celebrated team that have won anything and everything and all that. Like, fucking bored me. Just bored me.
This is what I like about what has happened at Man City this season. Before that, Pep Guardiola's Man City was so dull. I never wanted to watch Man City win or play football at all. But because of the running of Arsenal, I've actually become a big Man City fan for the last 6 weeks or so, 7 weeks or so. Watched every single minute. I've had more invested in the Man City games than I have Tottenham, and it's been fantastic. I tell you what, how good it is to support a club that's actually good. But now they've won the league, I could never. I want them to blow up. But for the last, it was a really refreshing thing to sit down and go, the team I want to win is definitely going to win. And even against Arsenal, it was like, yeah, they're definitely going to win. It was only the sort of Champions League ties that I thought, fuck them. But the run-in has been fantastic. Watching Arsenal implode has also almost taken the edge off the fact that Spurs are 8th in the league, going to be out of European competition almost completely. And but it's that tiki-taka style that perhaps Enrique would have brought wasn't something I was interested in. I'm much more into sort of bluster, blood and thunder, attacking football.
Yeah, totally. Ange as well, Postecoglou. He was in the running, and Slot as well. But yeah, it would have been Nagelsmann. But I was still a little bit hung up on Nagelsmann with the age. It felt a bit AVB type, and I know lots of people are like, yeah, but he managed Bayern, but he did manage Bayern, but it didn't really work out. Maybe there's a bit of arrogance, and there's this thing of him arriving on his scooter and him trying to kind of
skateboard, I think it was.
Whatever. They're both as shit as each other, and you shouldn't be arriving to work on either. So it's dangerous. So yeah, I did. Is that going to be the fit? And what I have been reading about what we want as for our new manager, kind of the person that wants to come in, who has that kind of vigor to come in like Poch did, and have that youthfulness and want to be there, want to manage Tottenham, want to make the best out of the players that he's got, isn't coming in and saying, this is the sporting director I want, isn't coming in and saying, before we start this, look at the team now, I'm going to need at least 300 mil before. He just wants that opportunity. And seeing the way that Feyenoord have come in and won the league on a shoestring budget, and he's done that for them, and I think he did really well with is it AZ Alkmaar? Yeah, he managed there previously, and he did exceptionally well there. And just the type of football, like, he aspires to be Pep, and likes that attacking football. And it's just
Did you just make that up? What was that Pep thing?
Mate, if you have read, there's at least 10 articles out there
where
Slot, he says that Pep is kind of his inspiration. He watches all the games, and he kind of tries to, I was reading one today, he tries to imitate what City do during their games, but sometimes it doesn't fit because they don't have the right personnel and players. And can someone come in as like a, right on the right side of the defensive centre back, and come in and move to right wing back, or can they come in centrally like John Stones has been doing? And maybe that all these different innovative ways that they're playing, that they can't replicate that at Feyenoord, but he'll take bits and pieces because he knows that those types of players can play to those different formation changes. But he is like, I think there has been some kind of underhand comments towards like Mourinho type football on that defensive football, and it's just saying like it's basically dead, and he would never ever look to play that way.
Hello, Mourinho is in another European final.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That is true.
Did you see the stats of that game? Like, they didn't have a shot on target. It had something like 13% possession. Just defended the hell out of it. Killed it. Just killed the game. Sorry, Rick, I cut you there.
No, I mean, and saying that again, like I was having a conversation. How would you rather play football? Would I rather be in a European? I can't watch Tottenham over 38 games doing that because it's just so nerve-wracking to watch. You have the ball, play upfield, go to them, and then they're on the attack again, and you're just sitting in the trenches, just waiting for it.
It's frustrating.
It's horrible to watch, man.
Fear and frustration shouldn't be what you feel as a football fan in your club. Well, ultimately, you might get to a final, but the fear and frustration that has been that you've had to endure to get there, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
And isn't that indicative of the lack of creativity that we're talking about? Isn't that doesn't that frustration come from not knowing where it's going to come from not having anyone playing that kind of number 10 role? When Harry's coming deep, you're kind of, we know that we don't necessarily want him to drop in there, but when he does, we're going, give him the ball, because he's the one who can pop that pass over. He's the one who can link the play, right?
Yeah, indeed. Sorry, you said Harry Kane's coming deep, and I just couldn't.
And as soon as you said that, I was like, Rick, you're a 40-year-old adult. Do not. And I could just see the smirk rising on Flav's face, and I thought, I can't hold it as well.
Grow up. I need to grow up.
Yeah, no, never grow up. Never grow up.
Who's the only one who managed to get the point across? You know, even though he realised he said it. Yeah,
That's,
a little bit of professionalism. Not going to see me rocking up on a skateboard.
Nick, I bet you ride a skateboard. You strike me as a man who does have a skateboard.
How do you do this? How do you get in my head?
I don't know. I just know.
How do you know that I spent my whole adolescence on a skateboard?
Yes, I know. There is this weird symbiosis that we've talked about before, Nick. We won't go into too deep here because it'll be weird. But there are weird sort of symbioses between me and Nick. So I kind of know that he rode a skateboard. He's just got that.
Did you used to ride a skateboard as well, Flav?
On my knees when I was 6. Yeah. Not actually standing up.
Grew out of it. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Nick? Though, it is better, though, or is it better? Do you think that we're attracting a manager like Slot, who perhaps doesn't have the gravitas that Nagelsmann or Pochettino would have had, but he's coming from a club where Spurs are the leap up from him or the step up for him, rather than Nagelsmann, who's already been one of the biggest clubs in Europe, a bigger club than Tottenham Hotspur in terms of their European heritage. That maybe he's looking at Spurs as a step down. So I'm going to do them a favour. Look at me arriving on my skateboard, and everyone's going to bow to my command. Whereas Arne Slot's going to go, no, this is a massive opportunity for me. I need to do everything I can to make this a success, because if I do, the next step up will be Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern Munich. He could be in a similar situation as Poch is. Hopefully he does brilliantly and signs a contract and stays with us forever, whatever it is. But if we are in a situation where in 3 years' time he's been courted by these other massive clubs, we have done really well over the next 2 or 3 years, and we can move on to whatever's next. So my question to you, in a long-winded way, is it's better to go for someone who's moving up than someone who may feel that they're stepping down into the Spurs job, do you think?
Well, listen, we've tried it, haven't we? We've tried serial winners, and look how it's gone. Though we're just talking about Mourinho, we're talking about we mentioned his name, Conte. These kind of big personalities that are coming in, and then essentially the narrative that comes around it is that I haven't got the minerals, no one's going to spend. The direction for the Levy out stuff, has come. Conte was championing in that really. He was the one saying that he didn't have the tools for the job, right? So I think someone who's coming in and seeing this as the opportunity. Rick was talking about there's at least 10 articles of Arne Slot saying this is how I play. That doesn't happen by accident, does it? Everyone knows what Spurs are about. Everyone knows kind of the motto to dare is to do. Everyone knows we want to be seeing this entertaining football, particularly that we had under Poch, the creativity. So this is coming out of Arne Slot in a way that he's talking our language, isn't he? And if he's up for the job interview, then he's going the right way about it, I think, because we could be the stepping stone to him kind of achieving those ambitions that, again, Rick was talking about, of being the next Pep or really making waves with Tottenham, because systemically we're there, aren't we? We're ready to go. And if whoever is in charge is going to put their hand in their pocket and add to that midfield and bring in some centre-backs, then we're not a million miles off kind of pushing where we should be, right?
No, indeed.
I also read as well with Slot about how his training sessions are really fun, really engage the players, and he makes it an environment that they want to be there, and they want to be there at training, and that's where he feels players and squads have that camaraderie rather than going out whitewater rafting or whatever it is for kind of team building sessions. But it's the kind of reverse of Conte, where his sessions were so monotonous and that the players were getting bored, and it was just a shitty feeling around the club that you're just doing the same thing, being told what to do. It's just good. It just feels like it's the antidote to what had been there before, and who we're looking for in a manager of what exactly. That's what Poch brought when he came in. So I just feel like it's. I think it'd be a good signing. But then again, man, I'm just I was saying this about Nagelsmann mate, if Rodgers was on the table, I'd be fucking singing his praises too. I think I'm just so desperate walking around this.
I'm much more optimistic about Slot than I would be if Rodgers.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. We're definitely making
Yeah.
excuses for him, but Slot feels. We've seen what Rodgers can do, and he's a great manager. Like, he's a good manager. Look, it's great and good in the same sentence. He is better than people give him credit for, I think. You remember that he was it top 6 for Leicester. He's won in the FA Cup, European football. But I don't want to entertain Brendan Rodgers, and the fact that he's never truly been in the conversation isn't,
No. But and as well, like being manager of Feyenoord it's not an easy job. They got decent fan base, big stadium, a lot of pressure in those games, and he's gone and won the Eredivisie. So and they got pretty far in the Europa League. So I think he has that pedigree where he understands what Tottenham's going to be about, really.
Cool. Yavi Fuego, he says, do you trust 3 bald men to run this club moving forward? Levy, Munn and Slot. I'm staring at 2 bald men right now. Do you feel happy that your brethren are going to be running Tottenham Hotspur? Or because it's, I presume, an involuntary thing that both of you are bald, that you actually, it looks as it's holding up a mirror to your own failings, follicle failings, and that you think that might sort of seep down into Tottenham as a club, the fact that none of them can grow their own hair?
Personally, I find it. I look at them as being efficient. Really, you don't have to.
Don't have to worry about the
hairstyle. Yeah. Like, don't have to shampoo. It's just
they don't have to go to the
it's all
hairdresser.
about the football.
They just
All
wake
about
up in
the
the morning and they're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like artists when they decide that forever they're just going to wear black trousers and a black t-shirt, so they never have to make that decision in the
Simon
morning.
Cowell
Get
does
that
that.
time back.
Steve Jobs as well.
Exactly. It's what us bald men do. So we don't have to make that decision about how we're going to style our hair or wash our hair or anything like that. Spend money at the barbers, spend time at the barbers. So
yeah, you'd give your right arm though to do it once again, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Fair enough. Graham Smith, he says, would you take Slot if we win a cup and Kane breaks his goal scoring record at Tottenham, the Premier League goal scoring record at Tottenham, but Robin van Persie comes with him and takes some sort of credit for both? So he is the technical director currently. I think that is a technical coach, whatever that is, at Feyenoord at the moment. So obviously Robin van Persie, we know who he is. If he had to come along as a part of a deal with Slot, do you just accept it?
Yeah, I'd accept it. I mean, like, that ain't hurting us, is it? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, he's one of them from down the road and all the rest of it. But, like, they're the ones who are going to feel the pain of that, aren't they? Like, we've been on the other end of that. Like, if he came and got his success with us where there was no success with them, particularly if that cup was Champions League, for example, trophy or something like that, yeah, I'd take that all day, to be honest with you. I'd rather not, but feels like fair trade.
I mean, you wouldn't kibosh the entire deal if we think that's right for the football club. If Harry Kane is on board, if Robin van Persie comes along,
You say we get a trophy out of it?
yeah, wins the cup.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, do you remember back in the day where we weren't as, I don't know what happened to us, but everyone was quite, I felt it within me, but no one else was saying anything. Like when Gallas, Adebayor,
yeah,
and they were playing at our club, and I was just like, is everyone getting on with this? Are we all right? It's like, we know we're being adults about it, professional footballer, and they can do a job. I fucking wanted to bleach my eyes. I didn't want to watch my team. I hated it.
I got on board with Adebayor relatively quickly because of what he did to them. They had the Man City buffer, didn't we?
Yeah. Okay.
And Gallas has already just spread himself across North London anyway. Well, North and West London as well.
Just hated it.
And we've taken so many Chelsea managers as well. 3 of them we've had.
Yeah. But then why does it hurt so much with Poch going the other way?